So it was great learning about Keepsaya, and I added a little something extra for flavor in there. Keepsaya has the fiercest walk I've ever seen grace this green earth. So shout out to sis, because mine could use a little bit more work, I must say. And I think I've improved a little bit since we shot that. But hey, neither here nor there. I will be at your next sip and tip class so I can gain a little bit more confidence and an even more fierce walk. Let's get it. But for this week's Don't At Me segment, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to first talk about Operation Meltdown. So, let's talk about the jug of the year. Shell corporations, millions in fines, and a sting operation in New York City. I know that sounds like an episode of Law and Order: Criminal Intent. But I kid you not, it's actually a crackdown on ice cream trucks. According to Mayor Bill de Blasio, the city seized 46 ice cream trucks a couple Wednesdays ago in Operation Meltdown after these operators of the vehicles violated traffic laws and then evaded fines for nearly a decade. So, jug of the decade, actually. As these vehicle owners were passing out popsicles and bringing joy to the neighborhood, they were also racking up about 22,000 in summonses and $4.5 million in fines for traffic violations. Yeah, that's a lot of money, okay? And you know, the government, especially in these overpopulated cities like New York City, Washington, D.C., and even Atlanta, they make their money from these tickets and traffic violations. So the operators have been cited even further, running red lights, parking near fire hydrants, and blocking crosswalks, amongst other things, literally doing any and everything they wanted to do. But the way they got away with it is very interesting. So the operators created dozens of shell companies and systematically re-registered these vehicles under the Department of Motor Vehicles under names of different companies. Jug of the century. By the time the city's finance department even realized that this was going on and tried to collect debt, there would be no trace of those companies because they didn't exist, because they just keep re-registering them. And when I tell you, they done ran off on the plug not one time, not two times, but thrice. I wish I had thought of this. Honestly, I'm thinking about all the times that I avoided driving a car in these big cities for this reason. And whole time, all I had to do was invest in an ice cream truck. Man, had I known, I would have definitely invested in an ice cream truck or a few, bringing joy to the hood whilst never paying for a ticket again. Beautiful, magnifique. So it actually is funny because it reminds me of this episode of The Simpsons. I'm a huge Simpsons fan, where Fat Homer steals the ice cream truck. So just for a little joy and a little humor, take a look.
Your dad went into a restaurant and ate everything in the restaurant, and they had to close the restaurant.
Hey, my dad may have gained a little weight, but he's not some kind of food-crazed maniac.
The raspberry.
Oh.
Workers, please. There'll be time for the frozen pudding wagon later. You still owe me 10 more Iroquois twists. 10 hi-ya-ya, and 9 hi-ya-ya.
Get away, damn it! Run for your lives!
I'll take a rocket bomb!
What can I get for 30 cents?
Let go! I gotta get to the tank!
And now for Future's Save Me album. So as we know, Future just dropped his album, and the first thing I noticed is that it's classified as R&B and soul. That's a little different for Future. Usually, you classify it as a hip-hop album. He's collaborated with the likes of Drake and Zaytoven, and the list goes on. So I wasn't expecting to see R&B and soul, but I was thinking, maybe there will be some funk. He's going to be doing a little bit more singing than usual. But then I pressed play. But first, watch this clip.
I felt like, damn, they're going to be like, oh, his music changed because he ain't drinking lean no more. Oh, I can hear it when he changing. It's just like, and people are like, damn, why you don't even say it? It's like, But it just be hard when your fans so used to you a certain kind of way, is that certain persona. You be afraid to change. You be like, you're afraid if they not gonna even accept me no more.
So in that clip, you see that he admits to his fans that he was a little skeptical about admitting that he stopped doing lean and stopped doing drugs that he once talked about in his songs. But then fast forward to this album, and he's talking about doing drugs. I'm like, maybe Future recorded these years ago before he admitted this year that he wasn't going to do it anymore. So you continue to rap about doing drugs, but we aren't really certain if you do or you don't do drugs. I mean, it is what it is. If that is your lifestyle, I am not going to discourage you from talking about things that you actually experience. However, if you don't, then there's a problem. I will talk about one line that I did enjoy on this album and one song that is actually a bop. Please Tell Me. The line where he says,
please tell me I can buy Chanel for you.
unlike many women, I can confidently say that I actually was still a fan of Future. Like, before Tony Montana, before I came up beefing it up at Howard, like, I was a true Dirty Sprite fan, okay? And I'm sure all of my bros and who are a part of the Future Hive will disagree with me on this statement, but overall, this album, it sucked. It wasn't good. Nope. I was disappointed, and I think I'm kind of washing my hands with it, and I will resign from the Future Hive. Yes, no longer a member. In the words of my dearest best friend and half of Girlfriends podcast, where you probably heard me rant about this already, I felt unsafe for both my ears and for Future. I mean, for crying out loud, he said, save me. He's telling y'all, please save me. Please. And in that case, I'm extremely aggravated because you're perpetuating a life and a lie to kids all across the world that you're doing something that you're actually not doing, which is big capping. Okay? So if you are doing that, then we have a huge problem, because there is some kid at home right now sitting on their couch slumped off of 30 Percocets. And that I just can't agree with. So all in all, I give the album a 3. And that's only for Please Tell Me. And lastly, condoms. Yes, that's right. We're going to be talking a little bit about how we're going to revolutionize staying safe. These 3 British teens, 2 14-year-olds and 1 13-year-old, came up with a new idea and a new type of condom. So basically, it can detect whether or not you have a sexually transmitted disease. Yes. The proposal actually won the trio the top prize in the UK Teen Tech Awards. And apparently condom companies are running toward the idea to invest in them. So get to the bag, teens. Okay, get to the bag. I wish I was thinking like this at 14 and 13. But there are still a few questions, i.e., would the STIs be detected in just the user or also the partner as well? Like, how does that work? Are you like kind of dipping in there and dipping out, checking for the color? We don't know how it's going to work. Also, there's this awkward question of what would happen if the condom actually came in contact with 2 or more STDs. Like, if you're carrying herpes and gonorrhea, is it going to give you some sort of like tie-dye effect where you just blue, yellow? Like, is it changing colors? There's a lot of questions there that we have to figure out. So that will determine whether or not these condoms really go into production. Also, imagine the condom actually changing colors, like during the intercourse. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would you do? That's what I would do. Like, did that just happen? What do you do next? Is that like imagine how awkward that would actually be. I'm just thinking like, and hold on, let's check for the color. I'm probably about to like throw some bows, honestly. Nuck if you butt me, honestly, if the thing changed colors, and we've already discussed. I don't even know if anybody would agree to actually wear those condoms, but hey. Shout out to those revolutionary kids. Kids are the future. Believe in the children. Believe in their dreams, because those kids, they got it down pat. I wasn't thinking about that at all at 13.
I just hit my balls. Oh. Whew, it's got hot. I gotta get out of here. I'm done. Yeah.